Hey guys, welcome back to Low RC. This is Jason. Today I've got the two Axial Scx10iiis out here at Crawler County. I've got the CJ7 and the early Bronco, and today's video is going to be a little motor comparison. The CJ7 has the fusionse 1800kv, and this has a Sequre outrunner, an 1800kv brushless system in it. So we're going to drive these two trucks around today, and this is not going to be a performance test because the CJ7 is probably the better performing rig with its desert lizards and its lowered stance, and it's a little wider, a little less top heavy. The early Bronco is still a little rock and rolly with the stock shocks on it, but this is just going to be a comparison between two different styles of motor and what they each excel at. Okay, we'll get started with the CJ7 first, and this is just going to be just a nice simple little drive through this rock field right here, just to kind of test out the FOC and slow speed control of this fusionse. Of course, I'm sure most of you guys out there have one of these motors and know how good it is. Now, I will say the fusionse and the Sequre outrunner are about the same price, both coming in about $80–85, somewhere in there for the whole setup. Nice and steady for the CJ7, and we'll try to get up this obstacle over here on the other side. Make it a little bit tougher. Just maintains that velocity regardless of how much resistance comes against it. Now, the Sequre is not an FOC motor, but an outrunner has just a lot of torque, so you'll see that in a minute. Okay, there we go. And here we go with the early Bronco with the Sequre outrunner in it. I actually do believe that this motor may be a little bit slower than the fusionse, although I do think I might have a slightly smaller pinion gear in this truck. But nonetheless, this thing is extremely controlled. And again, this is not FOC, but with the extraordinary torque of an outrunner, you really don't notice it that much. Now, you will, if you come into some sort of obstacle that's going to put your wheel or axle in a bind, it will stall out sometimes, but it takes quite the doing to make that happen. Make this turn here, get up here just like we did with the CJ7. There she goes. Wow, I didn't quite make the turn there very good with this. I will have links to both these motors in the description. If you choose to purchase through our link, that'll help our channel. That's greatly appreciated. Okay, I will say after the first obstacle, I slightly preferred the outrunner in that situation. So we'll go on to our next obstacle. So obstacle number 2 here, we're gonna go up Goose Hill here, across Goose Hill Bridge, and then show off some drag brake coming down this steep slope over here. So we'll start with the Bronco on this run and see how it does. Bumper caught up there a little bit. Drive through that. And here we go. Let's check out our descent. Here is off the throttle. Back on. Off the throttle. Back on slightly. Okay, so that's really good. Go ahead and make our way on down to the bottom and go get the CJ7. Here we go with the CJ7 up Goose Hill. Try to turn it around here, go over Goose Hill Bridge. Oh, my body's all jacked up on this thing on this side. Oh well. Here we go, off the throttle. Okay, I don't know if you guys could see that, but getting on the throttle at a very low speed, it seemed like it was a little more difficult with this. Oh geez, and that was not good at all. Go directly back to the early Bronco here and just kind of try to show you what I was talking about there. Let me get down this hill slightly. Okay, now I'm going to come to a complete stop, and then I'm going to try to start moving again, but I want to try to start moving at a very slow speed, and there you can see it. This definitely does a little better in that category, so let's find something else. Here we are for obstacle number 3, and this is the water pit. And I'm going to go ahead and call this a victory for the CJ7, because the Fusion SE is waterproof. The Outrunner does not like water, neither does the ESC for the Outrunner. If I drove through this with that, I would be pretty much out of commission until it dried out for several hours. So that is a win for the Fusion SE. Okay, here we go with test number 4, and this is just going to be a punch and speed test. See what kind of acceleration and wheel speed this Fusion SE has, and let's give it a try here. Some burst of wheel speed, and there's the top end. Again, I think the Bronco has a slightly smaller pinion, maybe a tooth or two less than this, but this Fusion SE still has a lot of punch and a lot of wheel speed. Let's try the outrunner. All right, now for the early Bronco here. Got plenty of punch. Doesn't have the reverse. I have the reverse turned down to 50% power on this, but it's got a little decent amount of punch, but top speed, not there. Not quite the top speed, even though the KV is the same. It's not quite as quick. That has a little bit to do with the pinion, but nonetheless, I still think it's a little slower. Our last test of the day. This is just going to be a 2 or 3 minute combination trail run with each truck, and then I think that'll be it for the day. So we're going to start here with the early Bronco. I love both these trucks. These are two of Axial's finest vehicles in my opinion. Get on up there, buddy. All right, showing off some of that outrunner torque right there. Like I said, even though it's not FOC, when it comes in contact with an obstacle, it just really continues to plow right over it, unless you get your rear pumpkin hung up on the giant rock. I'm rolling that thing right out of the ground. There we go. But that's good. It showed you some wheel speed there. I was able to throttle out of that situation. Show some nice control coming down here. All right, beautiful. We'll hang up there. And here we go with the CJ7. same result as the early Bronco. There we go. I finally one-shot that obstacle there. I thought I was going to do it with the Bronco, but I had to reverse there at the very end. That was awesome. There you have it, the Sequre 1800kv outrunner in the early Bronco and the Hobbywing Fusion SE 1800kv in the CJ7. Both these Axials are awesome trucks. Both these are great motors. Depends on your driving style and what matches you. But for me, I felt like even though the Fusion SE is capable of going very, very slow, that the outrunner just drives slow a little easier. Made it a little easier to do a controlled slow crawl, but that's just my opinion. This is capable of going very slow, just takes some more effort to do it. Obviously this one's not waterproof. This one is, so if you're planning on doing some trailing through some mud and water, this is a pretty obvious choice. But dry conditions, that'd be a tough one for me, but hope this video helps you guys decide on what type of motor you like. And it was a lot of fun to do. And if you like this sort of content, make sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching. We'll see you soon.